I've started recording.
Right.
Alright.
Tower.
Well, one of the sightings, Karin will tell you, is that the night grave definitely had a large portion of, at least the building that they went into already had a slime in it, and there's plenty of bodies nearby.
Okay, we can go check there then.
Well, you guys depart during the day, and there's absolute silence throughout the city. Although, on your way out, you do see one particular detail, looking at the map, or looking as you're leaving the garrison, rather. It almost feels as though the Red Force has become taller.
Once we're finished with this, we're gonna have to begin our scouting operations there.
One. Or, burn the whole forest.
That probably would solve everything. Oh, you're not here. Fuck.
Technically.
Okay. Well, there are multiple buildings nearby. Just pick one, I suppose.
I need to fucking turn down Rhombus. It is you're raping me.
You are Rhombus.
Yeah, just pick the closest one. Just keep peeking in and out, just looking and listening.
Well, inside one of them, you can hear some. After sticking your head into one of the buildings, you don't hear anything in that one. But the next one after, you do hear a little bit of a sort of crunching sound, lightly. Same with the fleshy kind of, flesh on flesh kind of sound. And
Going something's fun.
there you see a body lying face down.
Nothing else around it.
Doesn't seem to be. It's just dark in the building, but you can hear the sound
see it.
distinctly coming from it.
Gotta look at the body. Is it alive? You think?
Doesn't look alive. Don't feel anything else in here.
We'll figure out what's making the noise though.
The way we saw it last time was when you flipped over the bodies. They were on the bottom side, between the floor and the body.
And if we got a better way to do it, I can try to use my scythe to flip it over. But
You just use a plank. She grabs one of the torn up wooden planks from the floor. Ready?
ready.
And she places the plank under and flips it over before tossing the plank away rather quickly. And immediately you see the body flip over, and most of the top side of the actual body is sort of burnt away, it looks like, as you see the slime is coated in all different locations on it. It doesn't seem to be doing much more than that, except dissolving some of the body bits and chewing on the bones.
How do you know the most effective way to get a core out of it? Is there a certain area we have to strike?
Well, we can't damage the core, but I'm guessing that's the most important part. So maybe hitting it with the sword isn't going to work.
Yes, could you freeze it?
I could try.
Might be able to carve our way around it.
Is that what you're going to do, Myth?
Yeah, I'd have to hold my thing close though, right?
Ice could just blast it with something too.
Okay, shall try that.
You see, Ice steps over and just starts breathing a cold, sort of misty breath all over it as the thing slows down slowly as frost begins to appear on its sides. You see it quickly tries to move away, tearing up little bits of the frost from the edge, but it doesn't get away in time. As you see, it just turns into a frozen block.
You strike it harder, should shatter.
Does my vital sight confirm that it's dead?
It is
And
not
just
dead.
frozen?
It's just frozen.
Try carving around it. Thing.
Well, it would be easy to hit it now. If we can take off as much of the slime as possible, we can get as close to the core as we can. Keep
I
freezing
agree.
it, and then keep trying to get closer.
Let's do that. Keep swinging until we've narrowed it down.
And they keep shattering blocks of it as Ith continues to freeze blocks of the actual thing until the core becomes just a little bit of slime attached on all the different sides, still frozen, of course, before shoving it into a little jar. It's gonna be hard to get the rest of the slime off. Maybe we need to burn it off.
It's something our friends back home can help us with. Aries, probably. we head back then?
Mm. You see, just as you're about to step out of the building, you can hear something outside, kind of scraping along the stone. You can hear it
What does
again.
it sound like? Do you recognize the sound?
So they don't-
Passing in front of the doorway, swinging some vines wildly as it scampers along the stone. You can see that an ivy monster just passes in front of the doorway.
Andrew, are they in range from our wall gunners? Those at the garrison?
No, this is close. This is close to the Noble District wall.
We really do need to deal with Red Forest, and soon. Perhaps we should begin, as long as I'm not too worse away, I think we should begin our scouting missions tomorrow.
Hold on, he says. Let's just follow it for a second. You see the ivy monster actually ends up finding its way into one of the buildings. As you can hear its sounds kind of disappearing, before you hear a loud high-pitched screech and tons of crashing going on from inside of the building, before silence falls over again.
Try to take a peek and see what's going on.
Wait, don't look in yet. Just listen carefully, he says, pulling you away from the window. Something's in there right now too. It's a Death Stalker. I can see it from here. As she says, she's not even looking in the actual window. He's got one of the nodes in there, just watching for her.
Can I reach out with my mind and try to see if I can connect to it at all?
Myth tries, but doesn't feel any sort of presence. But while he searches, he does feel Mal, still extremely far away, but nonetheless, he can still feel Mal sitting in the garrison. He can come to you right now if you want him to. Oh well, it's daytime.
Yeah, I'm gonna call him.
You see Mal comes flying in after a few minutes as Karn continues watching. It's eating parts of it. It's like tearing it up. It's tearing off certain portions of it. Almost looks like fruit.
Is it eating the fruit?
I think it
noticed
is.
the fruit yesterday as well.
It must be.
So we can get some of that fruit.
Very conscious action. Instinct.
Can I-
Stalkers are fairly intelligent.
Can I send Mel in to try to communicate with him?
You can see that Mal's already sort of like sniffing into the window. But doesn't go in. Okay, it's done. It's only eaten the fruits, but it also decapitated the thing. And its head's
Where's
not
that
growing
monster?
back.
Well, at least we have an idea of what to do. Maybe not eat the fruit, destroy it.
Maybe. Deathstalkers seem to be drawn to magic power, isn't that right, Myth?
Yep.
Then maybe those ivy monsters have some sort of... Maybe those fruits are some sort of magical thing.
Explain the presence that I sense through Mel's.
Does he sense it anymore? Mal doesn't seem to
Oh.
sense this. Doesn't feel any more magic coming from the building, but did once.
No, he doesn't.
My bigger worry is they're actually out here during the daytime,
That was
and the Deathstalkers actually seem to keep them down. So what happens if there's no more Deathstalkers?
Why not? Again, we disrupted a balance. going. The sooner we get this done, the sooner we can deal with this imbalance.
Let's go. And everyone returns, and there you are now with the slime core, and Arius, of course, gladly burns the shit out of it before replacing it back in the jar,
Always.
slightly charred. Not really, but slightly.
I probably just said burn. Fires fucking appeared everywhere.
Yeah, dude.
That's
Honestly, you're having to find a new hideout right now. I burned it all down.
Oh,
Pog, boys, pog. He said fire, not how much.
A
Really, it's
common
not
mistake.
my fault. Really, it's not my fault.
it's also not a mistake.
It also was very intentional.
Okay. You have your slime core. And Kiana and Corbin is working, toiling tirelessly, working on the potions as the alchemy station is running non-stop. On top of that, Kiana has already prepared a sealed room with things to tie you down with. And tie you up with.
I go up there with my batches. All right. Before I start making your potions for your transformation, I guess I would call it. I mean, mana potions for everyone. For the casters, everyone gets for the casters they get 2 600 mana point potions. For everyone else, they get 2 300 point mana points.
Thank you.
Or I should say a singular 300 point mana potion. And
There you
since
go.
it's 4 casters, that means 8.
I guess for this time, Tristy also made me my leather plate.
Yeah, you'll have to expend the proper time. It's gonna be like 5 days or some shit. Per plate.
Really?
Yeah. It's taking 10, 5 days per plate.
How many? Hang on. I think
Tristy, how long could you roll and still pass it?
Uh, 6, I think.
Wait. Andy.
Hmm?
Am I doing the math right? How many casters are in 2 groups?
Actual
4?
caster hit dice?
Yeah. Actual casters. So we have
Yeah,
We-
3.
We have
3 or 4.
You have 3 actual caster
Three
hit
full
dice
casters.
characters. Yeah.
All right. Well, let me correct this. Who has mana pools over 600?
Technically,
Hello!
No, you don't. It does not.
using mouse, I do.
Okay,
Using
yeah,
mouse,
but
you
that's
have
not
an
your
infinite
mana
mana
pool.
pool.
That's his life force.
True.
So it would
Tristan,
be
that's all it is a mana pool.
So it'll be
because
Alphys,
Mal's is in a fucking lolly.
Alphys,
he can
Cordelia,
lead.
and Eris.
Mal learns how to assume human form. Ice Kid.
Yikes.
I think it's about. It's
Okay, whatever. Decide on the mana potions another time. Just
That's what I'm trying to figure out. So we have 3, which is Alphys, Cordelia,
Alphys,
and Eris.
Yana.
Kiana.
Kiana,
Alpha, yeah, Arius is a half caster.
he gets.
I'll
one.
give. You'll get.
You'll get 2 as well. So so those all
Actually,
those
is he
people
a
get 2
Actually, no, he's a-
600 point mana potions.
Never mind, he is a full caster actually.
I'll take 1 and then I'll give Arius my extra 1, so he'll have 3 as well.
Wonderful.
So, so I don't need as much.
Well, what's hey, I made 300 point batches. So if you're not someone who requires mana, I would recommend you get like one of those.
Yeah,
Because you
that's what I'll say.
you can't really take a batch and go over your mana pool.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'll take just one of the 300 point. I won't need another one. I'll just probably need one after this.
It's fine. So that's 8 gone from my inventory.
Damn, dude,
And
not
then
even
everyone-
demanding payment. Look at this guy.
Oh,
You're
I'll
a
pay him. Don't-
Fucking saint.
Don't you even worry. I'll pay him.
And then
Oh, yeah,
and then
if
have,
you're bad because background, they'd be like, that's awfully suspicious of you.
so if those that would just require a regular mana potion would be 6 of us, 8 of us. So we got. So it would be Natalia, Corbin, Myth, Ice Gith, Mikasa, Mir.
Decide later. Like I said.
I'm literally just trying to make sure everyone write it down and how much I can
Decide
move
later.
from my inventory.
Yeah, well, We'll dish that out later. If you want to make an announcement in administrative, you can do that, and people can. Yeah. That way they know. All right.
Okay.
So, you see Kiana is greatly enjoying preparing the ropes in the room.
I don't have to be so happy about this.
You're the one that asked for it.
And you see Corbett is also greatly enjoying preparing the suppository. I
I
mean,
didn't say that.
I mean,
I'm literally prepping everything up, make sure I'm doing all my sciences.
The
when
smile
it's
is
correct.
extremely wide for the suppository, though.
although Kiana's enjoying observing the egg. Myth, would you like to spectate that very closely? Very, very closely.
What?
Would you like to stand next to the egg?
Yes.
no. What the fuck? Get away from my egg, you little shit.
I'm not doing anything. What do you want about?
Nothing, nothing.
He would never do anything like that.
He would never sweep it.
Yeah, but then that means all the preparation that you guys made wouldn't work on him, though, because you'd have to alter it.
That's the unlucky, isn't
Because we have to alter it for him
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
aspects.
it? It'd be so
Well,
different.
And because
The
it's
only
and
thing
it's
that's
be-
changed would be Precanto, though.
yeah, the problem is he has precantio. That is that's a complex
That's
one.
harder to get.
What to get? Yeah.
Because now he's gonna have to find a way to apply precantio, which is gonna be difficult in a short amount of time.
Same way. Consume it just like you consume the Acme one.
Well, how would we get the resource itself, though?
Myth produces it.
But he just jumped in and didn't produce it because
What do you
Charge.
mean?
Well, I guess Myth dies.
Nobody
And,
asked me to fucking produce it.
Yeah, exactly.
we don't need you to. Yeah.
But
We're
if
asking-
you jumped in and hijacked the thing, then
Oh.
you just die because you did crystal beforehand.
Gotta love these little things. I mean, I don't. They make me very nervous.
I'm very nervous. In general.
All right. Oh, they're behind like triple glass walls, like an inch thick apiece, watching you.
I feel like this is like what the scientists did in those labs.
It kind of is, except this one's volunteering.
Ah, that's kind of fucked up, huh?
Wait,
I don't know on which side.
it's time.
Remind me again what I turned to Yana. Remind me again why Mira's wanting to do this.
She can be stupid at times.
You gotta get it out in bursts.
And because she's curious enough and surprisingly brave enough to do something this dumb, but I still suspect that it's a mental deficiency.
I still say we kill it.
You remember, I am related to Aries. You can't really blame me.
Wow, that's toxic. Wow.
Kiana does not deny this. She simply looks at Arius with saddened eyes. With eyes of pity.
Wow.
Eyes of pity.
There is a toxic bit of relationship going on here, and I really think we need to talk about it.
To be fair, you shit on on her first meeting. You took a shit in front of her.
What? What?
You don't want to
yeah,
know. You don't want
just
to know.
keep memeing it. Just keep memeing it.
Oh, sorry. Reality sucks. Reality is often disappointing. Is that what you want me
DM
to say?
Sucks, question mark.
You chose to roll again.
I've had the fucking name B Poser for like a year because of a fucking meme. Shut the fuck
Dude,
up.
yeah, he straight up is actually so good on his high check against the bear. He was so impressively powerful with his high check, sneak up on this bear, that it mistook him for a tree and it took a piss on him while he was T-posing. He was disguised as a tree T-posing. Wait till the point where he was fucking breakdancing in the square taking a shit fountain.
I heard about that. It was
one.
really good and then really bad.
I was breakdancing in the square perfectly, and then I fucking started shitting.
Alex,
Yeah.
I mean, Alex, at least,
Also
Brian,
levitating.
at least you shit in front of one person. He shit in front of the royal family.
Like,
On their door, on their front porch.
At the guest house.
also on their guards. 'cause
On their
guards-
guards, too.
Yeah, just getting filtered by a shit shower.
At least yours was on your sister's tent.
No,
I
fuck
don't
you.
get where you get the fact that she has a tent from. She can't even carry a tent.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Still,
Oh, sorry, my
it's
bad.
my
Sorry,
tent.
you're right. You shit on your tent then. Is that what you want me to say? Is that any better?
Yes, it is. It is much better. It is now my property.
Oh God.
It is mine to shit on.
All right. Well, Mir and Arius
So
are
wait, what?
arguing on the other side of the glass. You see that the face hugger has crawled out, outstretching its knuckle-boned limbs. A massive face hugger, much larger than the previous one, covered in obsidian iridescent scales.
Aries, we'll have this conversation later.
Conversation's over.
Would you like to struggle for fun?
Yeah. No, just no.
Well,
Go of you immediately because you're no fun.
would you like to make a will save against fear? By that I mean do it.
Fucking why not? See
You
how.
kind of have to because
fucking-
you might freak out and do something stupid.
Thing is, you really think I'm gonna pass this?
Of course not. That's the point.
Did we remember to take his weapons from him so he can't like accidentally kill it?
Oh
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
yes, absolutely.
Yes, I gave my weapon to Kiana. She's that's that way I don't
Excellent,
fucking
he's
stab
defenseless.
She is still observing very closely, but not with a bit of concern. She is holding the ropes very tightly still. It's a little scary.
What?
Well,
What was its role? Out of curiosity, just asking.
You show you.
Yeah, I know. I might be.
even if I didn't have a bonus, you are actually boned.
That's just me.
It mirrors seeing the thing outstretching itself with the little tube at the bottom side of it kind of wriggling about. She immediately begins to regret the decision, backing up into the corner as Kiana comes and sits next to her on the other side of the glass, still observing closely, as it leaps and lands directly on her face as Mir slams her head against the back of the fucking wall before lying down. I'm gonna put this here so that you feel better.
How big is this thing?
Big.
So it's basically got a horse dong for the little proboscis thing.
Yes.
Impressive. You can put that on your repertoire.
Sister's quite skilled, Arius.
Oh,
Apparently
All in
so.
one go.
this actually looks horrible strapped to your head. I'm not gonna lie. Looks horrible.
Yeah, when I said you needed a breathing mask, that's not what I meant.
Well, don't worry. It's
Flame
keeping.
put something in my face.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, let's get him strapped to the table.
Yep. As you see, she walks in, moving Mir over as she ties Mir down, not delicately by any means.
I'm going to use my Commander CMD to keep track of Mir's vitals.
She's still quite healthy. Just there's a bruise on the back of her head.
Heart rate?
Pass.
Slowed, very slowed.
Oh God.
You've entered a coma state. We have to wait.
You seem
Okay.
stable for now.
We'll have to wait for the thing to come off and then find out where where deposited creature inside his body before we can start begin. So we need to apply the Ignis monocrystal to it. Natalia, if I
Oh.
may ask, can you ask Cordelia to see what determine it once the thing inside has that Ignis aspect to it, if she's willing? Since I gave her I'm willing to give her 2 mana potions for it
And while
for that small help.
Natalia is observing Mir's vitals, you can see that something is something else. She actually registers another vital inside somewhere. Doesn't seem to register very well with the CMD, but one is definitely detected.
Where's it at?
Hard to tell.
Like on her body?
It's hard to pinpoint. The thing is like going in and out of the actual CMD and not really pinpointing a location.
Can I
Kiana,
get up and like do like a physical examination using the zoom function? Would that actually let me determine where it's at in the body?
No, it's not even able to register the location because it just keeps falling in and out of the actual CMD. It doesn't get enough time to actually register it.
Yeah.
So,
Kiana, is there a way for you to pinpoint where it is?
I can search for a concentration of magic, but we might need a little bit more time. We'll give it a few hours.
I agree.
So that's 6 to 8 hours pass here, and Kiana's back over to taking a look. as the face hugger finally falls off and sort of folds up all of its legs, as Mir is still knocked out on the table.
You know, Corbin, you know this to your collection of bullshit.
Yep.
You could have just shoved it in your backpack.
It's material I can use for alchemy or whatever. I mean, it's how hard is the exoskeleton?
Much more so than before. Doesn't even seem like you could scratch the surface with a sword blade.
I guess I was called a superior face hugger.
So if nothing else, I could probably use the acid to edge some armor.
Well, anyways, just observing Mir's face, you see that there are indentations on the side from the sheer force of the thing gripping onto her head.
And now I can't help but like this. Like, why am I doing this? Why did I agree to do this? So many things could go horribly wrong here.
Yeah.
The concentration of magic seems to be in her chest cavity. Just,
How stable is it?
So Mir appears to be fine.
It's a strong concentration center, but it doesn't seem to be moving about. Seems stable enough.
Okay.
Seems like it'd be behind her heart then.
I hand the Ignis crystal coin. We need to apply this crystal coin to the this Ignis crystal to the creature. Do you think you can do it, Coin?
I'm gonna have
Right.
Kiana try to track its look. So if we know where it is on the horizontal plane, try to see where it is depth-wise in Mir's body. So have her examine it again for the sign.
Kiana can sense its actual location, but she won't be. No one else can pinpoint it easily.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna have Kiana like, so we can know exactly where it's at. So I'm gonna mark it with my pen on her body, so we know exactly where to apply things. We need to apply it directly to the creature.
Yep, you see that she grabs, points out a location on her back, just beyond here.
I turn to Coin. Are you sure you're willing to do this?
I've seen worse things.
Alright. I hand her the Ignis crystal. Again.
How is it that we're supposed to get this into its body again?
Make a cut. And hope.
No, using this injector. Just hold up on
No, it's not.
inoculator.
It's not the right location. Kiana pulls out a very long-looking needle. Just crush it up and see if we can try to get it into there.
Okay.
We might need some water to at least make it flow easier.
I grab the
There we
crystal
go.
back and
I'll
crunch
my
it down.
canteen for some water.
pour it in pestle, mortar and pestle.
Yep. And you see
Crunch
Corbin
it as
grinds
fine
it
as possible.
down as he can actually feel the actual power and the warmth of the actual crystal itself. As water is mixed with it, you can see that the water changes color to a deeper orange, but no sorts of little fragments are left behind. And you see-
And,
Load it up in a syringe
yep,
for
and-
Kiana.
Yep, and Corin, well, she has the syringe and she extracts the rest of the whole thing. As you see, the syringe is actually quite large, and there's quite a lot in there. I'm talking, it's like 400 milliliters kind of shit, right?
I'm gonna brace Mir's body so Kiana can get an accurate target.
This is a special surgical tool. The tip of it's got a little bit of magic, so I could tell where it is. Just let me hold on to the end, he says as Corin holds the needle close. You see the needle begins to pierce the flesh a little bit as Kiana's sort of giving micro directions as Corin's directing the needle until you see it hits a certain point. And you see Kiana looks down to see the body with a little bit of surprise. I think it's resisting. It's moved locations. Do you have any sort of suppressant? Anything to keep it from moving?
Suppressant we
Anything that'll keep Mir from moving, or anything else in her body from moving?
it would have to be
A form of
A
paralysis
small
might
little
work.
bit of microdose of electricity work.
It could if we're quick enough. Although preferably we keep it slightly constant.
We also keep it to a minimum so that way it doesn't alter any aspects.
Yes.
I mean, my lightning is much weaker than Cordelia's, but it should be enough.
Just hold your gauntlets on both sides and see if we can keep it held in place.
I'm gonna use index fingers, almost like pointers on an electrode.
In doing so, Korn moves the needle closer, and you can almost hear a sort of crunch sound from just inside the body, almost echoing out. And the needle begins to empty. And she pulls it back out. Kyona's kind of looking at it. It's definitely changed.
Is it matching the amount of flow of mirror?
It's still
It's,
entirely
uh,
different,
it's-
but it has shifted. We won't be able to say for sure until we reach the end result.
Okay.
How's it look under the CMD?
Same thing, although you feel that the CMD now registers slightly differently with whatever magic presence was inside the body.
All right. Now it's gonna be this part is gonna be the longest process, but I give him the aberrant flesh weakening potion.
How is he not fucking?
What?
Sorry.
Yo, you playing Ballard?
Yeah, I was in a game before we started this.
Okay.
And as you're feeding it to Mary, you see that you see that some of her flesh begins to change color, sort of deepening and also kind of blistering in some locations. As you can see, Mir's face strain a little bit under this.
I suggest now we're gonna start using the injections. I think we should give her at least an hour in between each injection. Do it slowly.
She is not doing so hot.
You see that the rest of her skin turns this way, as horrible blisters appear on all different locations, as bits of flesh begin to hang a little bit as well. But soon it stops. She's definitely shifted now, for certain.
Okay. We have to do this injection 4 times. Apply the first one.
She would likely become very, very sick if we're not careful.
Agree. That's why I wanted to do this at a slow rate. So I mean, towards the end when we need to do it fast.
Could kill her if you're not careful at the end.
Yeah, I understand.
We also don't know how long we have before it does the thing.
Alright, so
Keep it at
how long are you going to wait until the next one?
an hour.
Okay. So an hour passes, you see that mirror still has some of the blistery bits, but some of it seems to be subsiding. Again?
Yep.
And again every hour?
Yep.
Until it's gone?
Until we're done all 4 injections.
Okay.
How's the condition look?
Also, Mir, what's your max mana? Or what's your current and max mana? What?
She is not.
Yeah.
Can you just fill it into your blue bar for me instead of Magic Dura?
I actually
Oh, you can't?
Is
What?
her
Oh,
heart rate changing?
I am an inter, I guess. There you go. Can you see now?
Which one did you want me to? Blue bar.
Do you put your magic, your mana, sorry, current and max? Alright. And after the last injection, you see that Mira actually ends up waking up. You see she's coughing and sputtering as she feels extremely sick. You see the first thing she does is throw up, but Kiana was ready with a bucket nearby as she empties into the bucket and lays back down coughing.
Bruh. Almost done, right?
We're just getting
Or-
started. She's not gonna let you down easy. She doesn't let people down easy.
Yana, if I ever have an idea like this again, slap me.
I've already planned to. But even if I did, I don't think you'd remember. Alright, what's next?
I put down a vial that's looks entirely black within. The darkness bomb.
Mm-hmm. This is gonna be the least pleasant part, Mir. You might want to look away for this one.
That helped twice.
And bite down on this. You see, he hands you a piece of rope.
You have a lot of rope on you.
I always have a lot of rope.
Let's see. Do we have any lube?
Point being is, Corbin turns around, and you can hear Mir shriek out in pain with a very horrible, piercing shrill, but also with some, like, sort of coughing mixed in between.
Slight glass crunching.
And you see that her eyes also turn a very deep black.
That's kind of creepy.
She's probably emitting this darkness around her right now.
But Mir can see
Well, that
nothing
looks
but
like
blackness. Nothing at all. What's next? How long do you want to wait?
Well, a vial that's dark in color, but also almost has like a swirling skylight to it. Aberrant Featherfall potion.
Okay.
She just needs to consume it orally.
Well, you're gonna want to drink this. You see, Kiana holds the vial open in front of her. Make it quick. Oh, and the mirror feels like the sort of coarseness and painful, grainy feeling as the remainder of the feeling slides down. A horrible scent to it as well that she can feel is bellowing up from within. And at that, you see that Mir slightly floats off of the table with the ropes not actually holding her down very well now.
Okay.
Okay, how long?
Natalia, how are the vitals?
The heart rate is high.
Like, heart rate's high. Blood pressure is slightly elevated.
Alright. Let's give it check every 10 minutes until it comes up a little bit, goes down a little bit. Need her body to calm down, because next portion is gonna be probably the start of what could be the hardest part.
You hear that, Mir? The hardest part's yet to come.
Don't slap me if I decide to do something like to stab me.
Corbin, do we have any extra healing potions?
Yes, but I don't want to add it to. Now only.
I'm gonna load them in my injector just as a precaution if she goes critical.
Okay. What's
Please
next?
tell me when you're gonna do that. All right. Next is place a potion down that's has a turquoise green to it. Mana acid conversion. This will turn the mana of her body into an acidic like.
Okay.
So technically she should not be taking much damage, but she'll feel constant pain.
I'll get to it.
Great.
Don't worry. It'll just won't be over soon.
Good job, volunteer.
Okay, go ahead. What are you gonna do? How are you gonna do this? You drink it?
Injected.
Why the fuck not?
Inject it.
Yep. To the neck, just
Oof. You see that Corn takes the needle into her own hands as well, watching the green and blue swirl inside the syringe before grabbing Mir and gently pricking her neck with it and injecting the rest, as Mir can feel a very searing pain now course throughout her entire body. And again, it becomes worse and worse and comes in waves. After a moment, you see that she settles down before opening up her eyes to see nothing once again. Not to feel the ground, but only the pain of the ropes and her entire body. And she can also
grab
feel
the next
herself beginning
next-
to feel tired as the struggling becomes difficult.
I grab the next vial and and it's reported orally. Abbott speak.
Vitals
He's-
getting worse.
This will allow her to have a understanding of language of aberrant and the wisdom of it.
Oh. And as Mir takes the next vial, you see that her body has stopped responding as much. You see she can't even struggle for pain. But the only thing Mir can see and hear is nothing but darkness and the whispers of horrible things all around in every direction. Nothing but whispers left and pain.
Alright. Now this part's gonna be quick. I put lay down a Deathstalker quill and set the anti-venom next to it. So we're gonna poke her with this and then immediately give her anti-venom. And after that, I lay down the blood slime core. We need to give her this blood slime core. Hopefully it should stabilize her.
Do it quick.
We have three medics here. We can probably all do it simultaneously. Or close to.
Alright. Because the minute we probably prick her with this Deathstalker quill, I don't know how much the creature is healing her, but we need it. If we don't do it fast enough, we could end up losing her.
Make it quick then.
Alright. I'll grab.
Already got the quill?
I got the quill.
Karn's got the needle with the venom ready.
On count
Or anti-venom, sorry.
on count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Poke.
And Corbin pricks the needle straight into her as Corin also quickly injects the anti-venom. Nothing left but the tiny needle left. And the slime core.
Give her the slime core the same way.
Yep.
And so they proceed with the rest of it. As you see Mir just under the CMD, you see that Mir's vitals have significantly just dropped to near death.
She's getting critical.
Getting
Garrus,
close.
If you have something that can keep her alive, you might want to get it ready.
As it continue dropping,
The
what's
only
this
thing
thing?
I have is a revive. I don't have anything to keep someone alive.
Is it staying that level? Is it getting fired down? Or
It's
what's it
getting
doing?
worse.
It's
She's
getting
near death.
worse. It's getting worse.
Have we used the pheromone sac on her, guys?
I don't know, crazy plan they came up with.
And now as Mir is laying there resting, she can still see nothing except one thing throughout all the darkness and the haze that she feels passing by her. As she coughs up some more blood and acid, there's just a sort of line of bodies in the darkness. Lying face down, face up, it doesn't matter. But every time she moves over to one and flips them over, she can see it again. She can feel herself melding with the body, consuming it, destroying it. One after the next. And then finally she finds herself lying on her back, looking upwards, and she sees a few familiar faces. Herself, Corin, Ice, and it all goes away. She's dangerously critical now.
Your call, Kiana.
You see Mir's hand is sort of stretching against the rope. You see it's almost straining, but just on one side. You see Kiana grabs hold of her hand. And still even bits of flesh are chunked and fall off of Mir's hand in the process, as a bit of her finger even bends to the side. She could die from this.
That's why I'm here. I will not let my sister die.
And from it, Mir finally opens her eyes. Still blackened, but she can still feel the world around her with only the hand and the pain of the ropes. And all
Mir.
nothing but acid flowing out of her mouth and everywhere else.
Mir, what do you want?
She just doesn't seem to find the ability to speak. She just seems to be sort of groaning and gasping, with some gurgling involved. She's lacking magical power severely. We should definitely get her something.
Get a
We may need Arius.
I'm here.
If you're going to restore her, now's the time.
Alright, then I'll cast Astral Revival on her.
and Kiana. What's the difference between the creature inside and Mir right now?
Nothing.
Is there any difference?
They're
Nothing?
exactly the same. I can't even distinguish between the two. The presence is just very powerful. But Mir's life force is fading.
Grab the mantle.
And after after a minute or so, you see that Mir emerges from the egg as her eyes are still blackened, but she seems to find the strength to be able to stand up on her own. The ropes have burned away from the acid alone. In her first
the
attempt to
process.
speak, she immediately spits up more acid onto the ground as it burns a little bit through the stone.
Not done yet.
I see. Quickly, get some food and whatnot around in preparation.
Yes,
She's
and
gonna
Mir
need
can
a
feel
lot.
extremely hungry at this. Extremely so.
You can always eat your mana crystal.
I just think just food is what she needs right now.
Let's start feeding her then.
And as Kiana pulls out a ration, she tries to hand it to her and tries to feed it to her, but immediately the acid burns away all the food.
Here you go, Mir. I've poured her a shot. See if she can drink.
Well, as soon as she touches the glass, you see that her fingers fail under the force of the actual weight of the glass, and the glass slips out of her hand and shatters on the ground.
I grab another glass. Pour her another drink.
I hold it up to her. I hold it up to her lips this time.
Upon doing so, you see that the glass already immediately begins to burn away as the alcohol also just boils and sizzles away.
Is there a plastic container of some sort around here?
No.
Damn.
Is there a special petri dish anywhere?
No, the only one that you guys had was the old pheromone petri dish.
Don't want to
There's a
give her that.
pheromone in one of the sacks that you guys got. Carving.
I'm pretty sure the most pressing concern right now is to have her stop spitting up acid.
Last time something sped up the process for Myth, right?
There's the pheromones.
It was.
You'll probably have to alter the pheromone to match the new creature.
I don't have.
Or it'll react violently like it did last time.
Check.
You
Do we not have any.
you can speak, by the way.
Nathan, we cannot hear
Check
you.
it. Oh, I've been trying to talk. What the fuck? You hear me now?
You've been like mega quiet, yeah.
It should be pretty much the same.
Alright, we can use the Hazak for the pheromone gland.
The only thing it might be missing is the
The what?
Igni. Fire. That might be the only thing it's missing, but other than that, I don't think there's gonna be
It's
much
matching with you right now, and first thing we did was
I'm
Igni.
talking about the pheromone. The pheromone. The pheromone should be almost identical, if not identical. If it's not, then it's probably just missing Igni.
Yeah.
You can use a shard of Infernium if you guys have some.
Mikasa will just generate an Igni.
Oh, nice.
I used the Hazak pheromone gland mixed in the Igni.
You see it
To
just
give a small sample to a mare.
and you see that the magical presence seems to shift around a little bit. It seems to be becoming more active.
Kiana, is it good or bad? Does it react good or bad, do you think?
That depends on what you want.
I can give you another sample and it starts coming out.
You may just want to apply the whole thing. If we enough of it would just accelerate the whole process, and it would have it now while the pheromone is active.
Have you applied the mantle yet?
I have the mantle. The mantle was put into it, the ingredients, but I have the other mantle, the actual one.
Apply the rest of it.
Alright, will do. I give them the rest. Little by little. But quickly rapidly as we see. I guess it's start reacting more frivolently. So it's all gone.
Okay. And you see, as Corbin is applying it, the magical presence moves around more and more and more, and continuously does so. You see Mira immediately just falls over unconscious. As her vitals become critical immediately. You see Kiana's looking at her. She is extremely deprived of magic. We need something now, and we need something powerful.
I'll use one of my 600 mana potions.
No, that's not what you need.
Then what do?
No, we need something. Anything. Anything is better than nothing. Do it now.
Fine. I pull out 1 in 600 mana potions in my stash. Give it to them. Her.
You see, just as she is consuming the 600 mana potion, her magic is still entirely non-existent.
Concentrated mana crystal.
I think that's actually a good idea here.
That's what I was gonna do the first time.
Yeah, let's do that.
Concentrated the concentrated mana crystal?
Yeah, the
Yes.
mana crystal.
You see that the magical power returns very quickly to Mir as it begins to fade rapidly once again.
Can you tell if she's absorbing magic in the area around her?
All of it. Every speck of it. All of her magic power is gone already again.
She might need a Void Soulbinder.
Something doesn't tell me that that's quite it.
Oh, yeah.
The thing itself
Alright,
inside of her is consuming all the magic power.
So it's probably once
How
more.
many of the 600 mana potions do I have? Is it 2? 3?
Yes.
Just let's see.
Well,
Okay. Since Mir gave me hers, then I'll give him
you
one
have
more.
2 600 and 1 300.
Okay, I'll give him another 600.
And just as you do, Mir's magic power sustains for just a second before it disappears. Again.
Another.
Would you be able to pull the mana from the charge of my armor? Because of that
Nope.
conduit. And
What?
Because I have that mana conduit built into my armor, would you be able to pull siphon mana from my charge?
No, they'd already converted the mana into charge for your actual suit. It would, I mean, it's up to you. Whatever you do, it's whether or not it works or not.
Mal next to her.
Okay. And you see, as Myth does so, he can actually see almost as though the thing actually has a limit of its amount of magic.
Am I able to feed my mana directly into her? Or no.
You could, yes, if you wanted to.
I'm gonna try to channel the power of my suit into her.
We'll start doing
The power of
that
the suit's not accepting it. Doesn't work backwards, Ian.
Then I'll start feeding her some of my mana.
You see Mal is watching intently as Myth can almost, like, can precisely see the details of the magic itself.
We're going to need a lot of mana.
Not much.
Corbin, I got an idea.
How much? About 3 times the amount that we currently have put into her.
She's gonna owe me big time for this. Grind up these 4 mana steel bars with this.
She does not have enough time. This thing is going to be active in a moment.
Alright.
If we're going to do something, it needs to be quick, and it needs to be now.
I go my back. Here's 600 mana potions. Start giving it to her now.
I will start feeding it to her.
I'll make more later.
Also, you can see the bar on the left here. This is the measure that Myth is getting.
What is the conversion rate for Mouth's life force again?
10 mana per HP.
I can offer about 1,000 mana.
I can do the same.
The gem was powerful.
Do we have another?
You have 2 others. That belongs to them.
Shit.
Which? Yeah.
The condensed mana gems.
Talia, thank you.
Give her one.
Would you accept payment in gold? Kiana turns over.
Yes, but you don't have to pay me a
What's that?
gem.
I didn't. You cut out what? Speak up.
I said yes, I'll accept payment in gold, but you don't have to pay me immediately.
How much?
We'll discuss the details later.
No, name your price now. I want to make this decision now.
1,500.
Pick something a little more reasonable. Higher. I do not plan to be indebted to you.
25.
25 gold for this.
2,500
100.
gold.
That's acceptable.
Will 8,000 apiece sound sufficient?
Yes, you can have both for that value.
The only one I want owing me a debt is Mir, and she will owe me this debt, whether she wants to or not.
Well, she owes me doing this for her.
How close is it to max?
And so feeding it the gem, Myth can almost feel as though Mir is blinding at this point with the amount of magic power. And even so, her magic power, Mir's, it's her own, like her actual own magic power, is sustained and doesn't seem to be decreasing anymore. In
Is it
fact,
almost at max, or is
in fact, it
It's
almost
max.
seems overloaded. In fact. And just as the gems are being fed, you can see that Mir is immediately starts convulsing on the table as she starts coughing up little bits of blood and acid, but more so blood than acid at this point. And just as that, she keels over on the table, tearing through the ropes that Kiana had tied back around her. with little effort as she bends over, coughing and spitting up some horrible mass onto the ground. Of course, blood to follow suit before she immediately goes back to sleep again, unconscious.
Everyone out of the room.
Pop her with the health potion.
See
Everyone
that
out.
is. You see this wretched creature that claws its way from her face, tearing bits of flesh away from her again and again, as it's almost the size of her very head, as her body is contorted in a horrible way, before slowly beginning to recover, as Kiana is shifting her body parts back into their original positions. And yet it sits there in a pool of black and red, a mix of Mir's blood and whatever disgusting mess came with it. It doesn't make any sounds, but it does try to get up on its legs and sort of struggle across before slipping and falling back into the little pool it's sitting in.
I look over the mirror and try to prop her up slightly. I think everyone that's unnecessary needs to leave the room.
I think everyone should leave the room.
Yeah,
Leave it
that's
here on the side of the glass, and we'll see if Mir can communicate with it through the glass. Like,
Mir is absolutely knocked out.
yes.
Is it mana depth or is it?
No, she's actually 3,300 mana overloaded. And she has
So she
negative
doesn't
9
need low
HP.
HP.
And she has negative 9 HP.
I'm a injector with the health pot.
Don't inject her anymore. She's already overdosed. Just let her recover.
all the potions is basically she has
She has
potion sickness.
she's absolutely severely overloaded with potion sickness.
Very well. I'll hit her with revitalize then.
If I make some fire, I could consume it and give her a heal as well.
You see, as
Mir
you're trying to
heals
heal Mir, you see that it doesn't recover her vitals at all.
Interesting.
I looked at the creature. What's the creature doing?
It's just trying to get up on its legs, trying to learn how to, like, almost like it's trying to learn how to walk. Just leave them in the room. Let's bring Mir out, actually. Leave it in the room. We'll
I
run
pick up
tests
Mir.
later.
Bring Mir out of the room.
And Corbin picks up Mir and drags her out of the room, while you see Kiana rolls the egg on its side out the door.
This is hers.
There will be many tests to run.
Alright, and as they're going out, I'll close the doors behind us. And
All
lock
of them. All of them.
All of them.
All
Every
of
single
them-
door that
every
there is.
single door that there ever existed
And
is
listen,
being closed.
I'm dropping a fucking desk in front of the last one.
And
Just to be sure.
as Arius is doing this, you can see that the just at the very bottom of the room, little bits of looks like almost like a fog machine, right? Just slightly beginning to fill just the bottom layer of the room. You can see the thing is slowly crawling now over from behind the table, just in front of the glass. Well, some hours pass before Mir finally awakens, and the creature just sort of makes its way around the room slowly, as the room fills slightly more and more with the haze, a very familiar-looking haze at that. To the point where it's tall enough that the creature can't even be seen in the room anymore.
How are you holding up, Mir?
Eventually, Mir awakens.
Shit.
You look like
Oh.
shit.
Kiana can do a physical inspection of her for us.
You see she immediately starts pinching different like parts of her, like her skin on her arm and stuff like that, and jabbing at her with a sort of stick.
Gentler.
You should be gentler with yourself.
Yeah.
I can't really see any changes to her.
She's not
physically, at
dead,
least.
but she could have been.
That's obvious.
She very
I'm
much
saying
could have
is that-
been.
Probably should have been. That was a dumb idea.
But we succeeded in the end, at the very least, or at least it seems that way for your life.
Well, now you have two people, Mir.
I do.
And you see Kiana walks over to Natalia and hands over 16K. From her own pocket, of course.
Check my pockets real quick.
Mir finds no coins at all. Kidding.
Yep. Yep.
No, you've got some.
Can I touch my pockets as well?
Arius finds negative coins in his pocket.
Somehow
every
you
hole.
reach it and it
Actually,
taxes you.
Arius actually finds all of Mir's coins in his pocket.
But oh, Mir doesn't know this yet though, and she won't know this.
See, well, Mir absolutely knows, looking over at the room, to see that her pockets are empty, but Arius has the most horrifying grin across through his helmet. She can feel it. Helmet that he never takes off.
Yeah. I actually
that
don't know
has
what he looks
never
like under
come
that helmet, I'll be honest. He showers in
Man,
that.
I'm quite good looking. That's all I gotta
He's
say.
never taken
Got
off the
17
helmet.
on appearance.
He's never taken off the helmet. The helmet is part of his head.
I was born with this.
Am
helmet.
Are the effects over me? Am I still
Yes.
liked by any of them?
You seem fine. Only problem is you'll have to recover naturally. And I
You're
don't
probably
recommend.
exhausted.
I also do not recommend you cast any spells. You might cast it a little too well.
You might explode.
Let's not do that.
That, and you should get some rest as much as possible.
I also recommend staying away from any potions of any sort for at least a week, for a day or two.
You're gonna stay away
Probably-
from potions for a very long time.
I mean, we've still got some more of this average flush you can make into potions if you're still thirsty.
I'm good.
Sure.
Mir will stand up and start walking over to the door.
Make a dex. Actually, no. Make a balance check. Sorry.
Ah.
But minus 50.
Oh.
Also, did you hear any good whispers while you were sitting there? You're kind of babbling to yourself.
Is it minus 50? Fucking Christ. Minus. Let's see how bad this is. Yikers. That's actually a decent roll.
Well, Mir immediately trips and falls on her face
I go up to her and pick.
as Arius is in the corner laughing immediately at her
I have just said that I will go support her.
while laughing.
Absolutely. Splitting my sides.
Laugh,
I
laugh,
go
laugh.
to the other side.
I
of the room.
will.
Get me to the door.
You see Bachasa immediately comes over as Arius is about to pick her up as she just grabs Mir and shoves her on her back like piggyback.
Thanks, sis. I'm sorry.
Don't worry, I would have done the same.
I know. That's
I mean-
why I did it first.
I mean, with this doing stupid things. I don't mean the rest of this. This is a little too stupid for me. Sorry.
You bring me over to the door.
Yes. You're already out of the actual chamber.
Can I feel a creature?
You feel something else. You feel whispers in your mind, but you can feel a direction to them. You feel many
coming?
of them. But in particular, you can feel a loud sort of chattering or whispering coming from behind the glass. Although Mir looks in, and she sees the creature just simply staring at her through the glass, while the others see nothing but haze.
Can I see things? Can I see like the desk and everything?
You don't even see any haze. There's no such thing as haze. Although you do see that the color has faded and it's almost black and white.
What's wrong with the room?
It's covered in haze.
Is it?
Yes,
I can see through it.
might be a connection with the creature.
Maybe. I don't think mine's the same as myth. Think a command.
reacting?
What are you thinking?
Me?
Yes.
Think go to the back of the room, opposite side of us.
You see that no such thing happens, although you see that Mal actually walks across the room and sits as close as he can to the location Mir just thought of. And
Look
Myth
at Mal.
can feel as well some sort of powerful interference in his mind.
I think Malcolm here.
And Mal walks back over.
Both of us give a command at the same time. I give it to one room corner, you give it to the other.
Yep. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
And
Go
as
to the
both
corner.
are doing just exactly that, you see Mal almost freezes up a little bit as his eyes both all look in different directions before moving over to the corner that Mir specified, and then trying its best to walk back over to the other corner that Myth has
It's
specified.
doing both. It doesn't obey one over the other, it just does both.
And at that, after that, it just simply lies down, covering the top of its head with its clawed paws.
I won't do that again, I'm
things.
sorry.
You poor thing. Look what you guys did to it. You made it go walleye.
Sorry.
It's got 6 eyes and they're all looking in 6 different directions.
Can I feel Mal?
Yes, you can almost feel whispers.
But I
Very lightly.
and I can feel the dragon.
You can feel
the
it
thing in the-
over everything else, yes.
Can I that command that I was thinking, am I able to direct it at a specific one?
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to not focus on but focus on the creature in the room. Directly focus on it and make it take a step forward.
Which one? The creature? The one in the actual
Yeah, the
thing?
big one I just birthed, yeah. My fucking child.
It just simply watches you through the haze and does nothing.
Think to it. Can you speak?
The whispering all stops immediately, but nothing happens.
Speak.
And just as the whispering stops, you see Mal walks over and sits at the glass and watches you.
Can I feel anything from any emotions?
No, but you do feel a very powerful presence coming from this one here.
I look at Mal. You must obey Myth, not me.
It still stares at you. No
Mal,
blinking
come
on
here.
its eyes. Mal doesn't respond.
Go to Myth.
Mal still doesn't respond.
Ah, fuck. It's amazing.
Look back at the thing in the room.
It still watches you.
Try to project my voice into its mind again. Did you take it over?
Nothing happens.
I'd go in there, but I'm afraid I'm a little weak right now. Don't think it's a good idea.
We should kill it.
Second bet.
Neither of y'all go anywhere near it. Thank you very much.
Can I sense anything in my mind other than Mal?
Yes, you feel the presence of two things, in fact. Very dimly, but you feel them. You feel it coming from me, and you
Yeah.
also feel it coming from the creature in the glass, behind the glass wall.
Pull out the mantle, and hold on to it, and look at the creature.
As Mira holds the mantle, she can feel the whispers begin to flood into her ears again, much more powerfully now. She can almost begin to make out the sounds.
listen closer, see if I can't make it out.
You don't hear any whispers coming from the large creature, the larger one. But you hear them from everywhere, all around. Especially almost some sound like they're below you. Every single direction except for above you.
What exactly is the mantle shaped like? Is it a ball?
Oh, well, no. Think of it as like the veil that sat over its head.
Put the veil on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In placing the veil on, the whispers become very loud now. Still is not very understandable, but she can feel as though if she concentrated on one of them, she would be able to make out some words.
Can I hear anything coming from Mal?
You see that Mal now is just simply kind of walking around the room, idly doing stuff.
Try to listen to any voices I can.
And looking at Mal, you kind of concentrate on just looking at him, and you can hear a single word. Hungry. As he lies down.
Think to Mal. You are hungry, correct?
You see he opens his eyes and looks at you. Yes, hungry.
I see. Myth is your master, yes?
Says nothing. Just simply
Amen.
blinks each of his eyes.
Myth,
I
give it a
reach out
command.
to him. Come to me.
And you see that, as Myth says it, Ymir can hear it in some different sort of voice. The whispers, again, coming from Myth, as Mal obeys, and he says, yes, as he walks over to Myth.
Can you
Back at
hear
the-
her?
Myth can't hear any of this.
Look back at the creature in the glass. Speak to me.
And he looks at you, and you can see that one or two words come out. I am.
You are what? Speaking to me?
He says nothing more.
Do you have a name?
You see, it actually looks away and sort of looks at one of the walls. Forest is all you hear.
About the forest.
It still doesn't respond.
Answer.
You see, it turns around. Forest, it says again.
You wish to go to the forest. Could you please take a step forward?
You see, he does exactly that. Or it does exactly that.
What do you think when you look at me?
It seems to turn its head to the side as if not understanding.
Can you fly?
You see it at the word fly, it tries to sort of flap its wings, but it doesn't do anything. The hooks at the ends just sort of scrape on the ground along the stone.
Are you trying to tell it to fly?
I am.
Probably too small or too undeveloped for it to fly. It would take some time.
It is.
Kind of like how birds are.
Walk towards the door.
Doesn't seem to move around as you walk towards the door. Just watches
It
you
doesn't.
again. No, it just watches you.
Would you please walk towards the door?
You see it begins to move towards the door and sits in front of it,
I see.
tripping along the way, of course.
I am not your master. But I am your mother.
It still says nothing. You can still feel some whispers now coming from all the directions, but they don't seem very clear. You almost feel as though the creature is trying to say something but cannot. Or it feels inaudible.
Is it trying to pay attention? Does it seem like it's communicating with other things?
Yes, you can feel a connection between it and many of the other whispers that you're feeling as well.
Try to listen in. Strain if I have to.
Ymir listens as best as you can. She can listen to the whispers as you hear the same word over and over and over again. Forest. Many of the whispers you feel coming from the direction of the Red Forest, you hear nothing but forest. But it doesn't seem like a sort of calm type of forest. It's just, you have a sense of panic to it.
They're trying to keep the forest in check. Okay, I see. Does it feel like the whispers are moving towards the forest, or that they're just noting it?
Occasionally you can hear some of the whispers drop off, but as well as the rest of them moving away from the forest. Are you listening in on them, Mir? Kiana turns, taps on your shoulder,
I am.
pulling Mir from her concentration. You're simply using this mantle. We need to make it so that it's usable for you.
How so?
How do you think? We're okamis, or at least I am. Do what we do best with monster parts. And study and create something of it.
Anything I can help with? Kobe picks up.
I can hear all these monsters. I think I even have control over them to some extent with this, but so does that. Pointing towards the creature in the mirror. And it's not my servant.
You shouldn't have expected it to be. We knew as much
No.
that this was a risk. There may be ways to bind you two together, but we need to make sure that you're the one who wins.
Might be power of wills.
It might be a battle of wills, but this mantle coming from its original creator could be the way to do it. To guarantee it.
It doesn't seem hostile to me. When I try to tell it to do something directly, it doesn't listen. Probably just out of
Right.
yeah, out of a spite or maybe sheer will. But
It doesn't. It's not sure of its position in the pecking order yet.
but when I ask it to, it does. It's listened to things that I've asked politely.
It's likely
It's
not
unsure
that.
of its position.
I believe it's amount of will. Simply ask it, but lightly, for something that's not unimportant to you. Try that first. And then afterwards, try something with a lot of... Put your mind into it. Think about it very, very clearly. Force it in your mind if you must. But begin gentle and then become harsh. I believe it's a battle of wills.
I will try. There's a table.
Right? Yep. There's a table in there. Where you were strapped to.
You first do the gentle.
Take off the mantle, though.
Take it off.
And take it off, you can feel that the whispers fade away.
try to think to it gently to go get on the table.
It now stares intently at you as Mal turns as well as to watch you.
Push a little bit harder. Go on the table.
You see that it doesn't do anything.
Go 0 to 100 and push as hard as I can onto the thing. With as much will as I can muster, get on the table.
And Myth can feel a slight strain on his on a bit of his head there, as well as Mal just turns to watch the creature in behind the glass wall as it immediately turns and jumps up onto the table.
Seems you must command it like a soldier.
No, I just have to be stronger than it.
At the end of the day, that's how leading troops in a battle can work.
Thing is, I don't think soldiers are going to grow up as fast as this thing is. I think I can force my will upon it right now as it's young.
It will grow up, it will become powerful. If it becomes anything like what we saw, it will become a very, very large menace and could be very dangerous to anyone around. Not to mention its reproduction habits is
Not exactly pleasant.
not pleasant nor humane.
Don't expect me to do this again.
Don't trust me, I don't expect anyone to do this again.
Do not expect me to do this again, Yana says.
I will not be doing anything like this again, trust me. We need to find a way to make something out of this mantle. As well as we need to ensure that we have its will binded before it gets too strong.
Not to mention, yes, you need to make sure that you can hold your power over it without the mantle. If you lose that mantle, it could become very, very dangerous.
I agree.
This is no toy, this is no small creature. We should not treat it lightly.
It's a monster of monsters.
But it is very powerful if it does what we think it does.
I look back at the haze. I still don't see it, do I?
No, you see it through the haze.
No, I'm saying I don't see the haze.
No, you don't. You see, like I said, you just see black and white. It's about halfway up the room now, as the rest of them also see that halfway up the room, the haze.
I look at Mal and try to force it to do something as well without the mantle. Just move a couple steps to the left.
Mal does exactly that.
I think I might also have just become something like it.
My apologies, Kiana says as she takes a needle and stabs you in the arm. You feel sick yet?
Do I?
Do you?
I don't think so.
Then it works the similar way that Myth had also had his affliction cured. Deathstalkers won't bother you, it seems.
Wait, did you just stab him with a Deathstalker spine?
Yeah.
Just fucking.
An educated guess.
Beth, see if you can command the thing.
I doubt it.
Give it a try if you want. Just be careful, it might not be pleased. Might not be a good idea, might try to reverse it actually. Maybe doing the same thing I tried.
You have a stronger connection with it, that's why you probably can command it.
What do I feel in my head?
You can feel the presence of it. A magical presence. One that felt similar down to when you were below. Not the one Mal felt when you guys were leaving the cleaning area, but when you were approaching down the area. Approaching down there. The haze made it difficult, but now you can feel the same thing for sure, very clearly. Although, it does give off a slightly different feeling.
Can I see the haze?
Yes.
Okay. I reach out towards it with my mind, just to see how close I can get, like what I can feel from it.
Well, first of all, you feel an extremely immense power, more so even than what you felt before when you were in the sewers. Very, very much noticeable. Even if you turned away, it would require you actually trying to concentrate on something else before you wouldn't feel it.
Can I hear any voices, or is it just a presence?
You feel the presence, but you don't feel anything else. You feel a little bit of whispers coming from it. Just a little bit. Presence most of all, but the whispers just a little. But you don't hear anything else, just this one. Just this one whisper.
I command the whisper to come to me.
In doing so, you feel a little bit of pain in the top of your head.
I ignore it and keep going.
And Myth tries and continues as the pain grows even more intense and more intense, to the point where you can see that Ice is actually sort of coming over and trying to, like, she's kind of like rubbing her own head. You see she's like sitting down and kind of looking like she's in pain.
Myth, perhaps you should stop.
I stop for a second.
Myth, can I try something? It might be uncomfortable if it works, but may I?
Go
Well,
ahead.
let me do some. Try to do the same thing I did with it. Force Myth to move to the left.
Myth feels a compulsion to try to move to the left, but he can feel it definitely, almost like something's invading his mind. But he doesn't take a step to the left.
But you can feel it. You can feel that, yes, Myth?
Yeah.
Stop.
And
But I don't have the actual ability to do it.
immediately the invasive feeling goes away.
I imagine I've gained some of its control over other monsters. I just need to make sure it doesn't outpace me. I need to control it. Wonder if the haze works on me still.
Do you want to try stepping in the room?
No, I'm too weak right now. It does affect me. It might be. That's something we'll have to test at a later date, I think. I don't know how fast this thing is going to grow. Hopefully not as fast as Mal.
Well, the first step of having control would be to name it, would you not?
I do need to give it a name.
Well, you guys want to call it here? For this short.
What are you gonna name it? What's the name?
No, I don't want to call it here. I want control of my fucking thing back.
What, of Mal?
Yes.
Last command you gave
Nathan, you're super quiet.
Oh, you should have it back. The last command you gave it obeyed.
No.
Try again.
I command Mel to come to me.
You see he does that. And sits just in front of you.
I think he's you. shall soon be.
Your mic
You're
is
super quiet.
your mic is dying again. That's
I said
better.
I think it was simply confused at what was going on between me and the thing in there, the thing that will be named soon.
Interesting.
I have one proposition, Kenna says. It may be a battle of wills to a certain point, but there also needs to be, I'm sure, an amount of mutual respect involved. He needs to know that you're more powerful, but he also needs to know that you won't just simply...
Off.
Yes, exactly.
What do you think? We let it out?
I do not believe that is the best decision, but I do not believe that leaving it in there is the best decision either. I can't give you an idea for sure. I believe that decision is best left up to you. If
I say we toast it.
If we were to take a strong middle ground, I'd say you leave it in there for the night, rest for the rest of the day, and through the night, and then try to bring it with you if you can. You've already risked your life to do this. Risking it again, you may not have much of a choice at this point. You need to master it, and you need to master it soon.
I'm going to need to rest for the day and the night.
I'll work
But
on
tomorrow,
this as best as I can. She grabs the mantle.
Thank you. But tomorrow, I think we begin our scouting missions into the Red Forest.
Yana, you seem to be more magically inclined than I. Would holding that mantle allow you to try to interact with them?
A good question. You see she puts it on and looks at around the creatures. You see that none of them seem to do anything. I can hear them, but I can't speak to them.
Probably a hierarchy then.
Mantle might only be an object for listening. I think the being able to talk to them is something me and Myth alone have at the moment.
You've entered
I think the mantle might get you into whatever method they're communicating with. But
The mantle, I think, allows you to
but
listen.
having
And
but when you had the eggs hatched inside you, you became essentially the same rank as them.
I want to say that it's more like it became part of
equal to
society.
them, because you took part of them and they took part of you.
Well, either way, I think tomorrow we head out into the maybe not into the Red Forest, but start scouting the areas we need to and scout teams.
I'm not gonna send my ghosts out until we know more about these ivy things.
Then I'll go out.
I'm going with you.
I would like for me and Corn to go, if that's all the same.
No, not this time.
Why not?
I told her I wouldn't leave her behind again, and I'm not going to.
Leave it behind.
What does it matter, Myth? Ryan steps up. We're just simply going on a scouting mission. We'll need as many of us to spread out, probably in pairs, to cover as much ground as possible as safely as possible. It's a sound plan. If we don't need to cluster up, then there's no point.
Just why I would like it if the ghosts could do the same. I'll tell you. I mean, it is your decision, that's why I'm not going to make it for you, but I do think we need intelligence.
The ghosts don't have weapons to defend themselves against these things. As far as we
They're
can
not.
tell, cutting them apart doesn't do anything.
Then the rest of us don't either.
We all have magic. Weapons that deal magic.
They're fast though, no? One thing we've learned about these creatures is they're not very slow. They stay to the buildings, and we do it in the day, which is what we're planning. Even though they clearly walk out in the day, I don't think they'll be in too much danger. Not if they're competent.
From what it looks like, they don't seem terribly... Well, they seem to be drawn to things, but they don't seem terribly... swift. I believe the maneuver gear is going to be our best chance to keep away from them.
All the same, until we know more, I'd rather keep the ghosts safe.
Turn to Tressa. What do you think, Tressa? They're your squad.
Corin has a good plan. It's doable. We don't know much about them ourselves, but maybe some observation would help. A day of
We have to at least
observation?
figure out.
Do you
Tell
feel
me what-
confident that you guys can stay out of trouble?
If what Corin says is true, but they don't, come off the ground, it would be easy to just stick to the rooftops.
I turn to Talia. Now, I suggest we do it in waves. First scouting party goes in, checks in, and the ghosts go in second.
My order still stands. Go stay at home.
Fine, we'll scout ourselves then.
I'm coming with you.
We have even
Yeah,
less
I think it
manpower
is.
now. You should bring Tressa with you, if she's willing to go. You see Tressa kind of gives a nod. If you don't want to bring the scouts, I can go myself.
You need to have more faith in troops.
I'm also not the kind of commander who sends our troops to slaughter.
They're
This
not.
isn't sending them to slaughter, this is sending them to recon, which is their jobs.
You
Very
always
well,
send.
Jesse, you're approved. The rest of the ghosts can stay home. Stick with Corin.
We'll do in pairs. Me and Corin, Myth and Tressa. I'd like to talk to you alone, Myth.
You'll have some time. But I'm not staying out of striking distance from you guys. In case something happens.
Keep that in mind. But I do want to talk to you after this, before I go to bed.
Okay.
I turn to Corin. Thank you for helping out with that fiasco. Feeling alright?
Not bad.
What do you think of that?
What, the whole process?
Process? I turn to the creature with what we created.
Seems dangerous. I'm not a fan. But it wasn't my decision to make. And it still isn't. I could care less. As long as it doesn't bother us.
Is something on your mind?
Not particularly.
You see, I don't know exactly what happened when I got knocked out from the sleeping gas, other than Talia saying about James Farber is here, but you seem more distant.
Do I?
Yes.
Says as she walks off.
Okay. Oh, that's a challenge I need to get to. Time to pester her to bed.
Alright,
Alright.
so we call it here until next week?
Yeah.
Okay, good.